Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us today. I want to welcome you to our community conversation hosted by Dances of Universal Peace North America. We're so grateful that you've made the decision to be with us today. We are in service to furthering Murshid Sam's vision of realizing world peace through the Dances of Universal Peace by offering events just like this for us to come together to connect, collaborate, and empower ourselves and each other towards becoming the peacemakers inside the circle and outside of the circle that will help us build a new way forward together. So we're so happy to have you with us. The first thing I would love to do is to spotlight our board members for Dances of Universal Peace North America, those who are on the call. My name is Jen Friedman. I'm honored to serve as the Executive Director for DUPNA. We have Tajali Tolan, who's our President of the board. We have Vimlan Van Deen, who is our Treasurer. And I saw Jennifer Stock is here, so we could put her in the spotlight too. And then we also have Ayesha Candy Cruz, our newest member of the board, offering a deep bow of gratitude for our board members. And also I want to say thank you to Hayat Bain, who's serving as our tech host today for the event. So thank you so much, everyone. So here we are today. This is a space for us to practice becoming peacemakers together. So this is not a space for problem solving. It's a space for us to practice becoming more open-hearted, more vulnerable, and being together to practice the skills that help us move towards a world of peace. So we're so grateful that you've decided to come be with us today. We expect that this event will be about 90 minutes. That's what we're aiming for. And we have a beautiful attendance here today. The flow of our event will be that I'll pass it over to Vimlan to offer the invocation in just a moment. And then Tajali will offer us some practices together, tips and resources for us to go into breakout groups, small group sharing together. And we have some discussion topics for us to share. We'll share in our small groups for about 25 minutes. And then we'll come back into the larger group and we'll invite one person from each breakout group to offer insights and gems from what was shared in the small group setting. After that, we'll have a grounding practice, and then we'll just talk about ways that we can carry this practice forward into our communities. So before we share our invocation together, I'm just going to invite us to find ourselves in our seats. Just to be present with the here and now. Allowing ourselves to release anything that is ready to be shed in this moment. Allowing ourselves to open our hearts, even if it's just a teensy bit wider. Knowing that this is a loving, tender space for practicing, even if we have the shaky courage to take one small step, knowing that we do it together and trusting that we can hold each other in this work and that it's essential that we hold each other in this work towards peace. So I'm going to offer a centering song called "You Do Not Carry This All Alone." And this beautiful song was first brought to us by Nurjahan Christy Marie in Minnesota for a quarterly concentration gathering last winter. And the composer of the song, her name is Ale Blakely. So if you know the words, I invite you to sing with me. If not, I just invite you to bring it into your heart and see how it feels for you. You do not carry this all alone. No, you do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. So you do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. No, you do not carry this all alone. This is way too big. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. So you do not carry this all alone. Can we see the full group, Hayat? Remove the spotlight so we can see our community. You do not carry this all alone. No, you do not carry this all alone. This is way too big. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. So you do not carry this all alone. Last time. You do not carry this all alone. No, you do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. So you do not carry this all alone. Thank you, beloved community.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Good. That was beautiful, Jenna. Thank you so much. Ah, what a great reminder. And I was seeing all of you here is just so wonderful. We are not alone. So I invite you to join me in the invocation, the Hazrat Inayat Khan invocation, to remind us what we are doing here. And during this time for the invocation, please use whatever word calls to you for the spirit of guidance. And Tajali's going to sign for us. Thank you for that. Taking a deep breath together. Virtually holding hands in this wonderful circle. We begin in the name of the one who is mercy and compassion. Toward the one, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty. The only being united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the mystery, the message, the messenger, the spirit of guidance.
Thank you, Vimlan. Welcome, everyone. We're in such a wonderful time of birth and finding new ways to be a human being. When I came to the dances in 1991, I remember the moment after that first dance when I felt like, wow, all people are welcome to the table. And I had been searching, where are we all welcome to the table? And it didn't matter ethnic group and differences of spiritual practice, everyone was welcome. And over the years, like human beings, we have difficulty with differences and communication and contraction, and how do we relate with each other? And when I was in Colombia recently, walking along an edge that I kept falling off the edge of it. It was a vulnerable space for me, as well as the earth. And I was also digesting the little news that I was seeing, but also hearing of conflicts that happened far and wide in my own family, in myself, but also in our dance community and with dance leaders. And as I work to build an edge to protect myself and the earth from falling over, I thought, this is a vulnerable edge. How do we navigate these vulnerable edges together? And what our dances and our music and our practice is a peace practice that is so profound for each of us and for the world. And we have these vulnerable edges within our relationships. And so here we are today to explore what can we do to shore up these vulnerable edges within ourselves and within our relationships within our dance circle. And so Hayat, would you share the ground rules that we have? I'm going to share ground rules and the practice for compassionate listening. And then I want to lead a rain practice, just briefly helping us come into space. So our ground rules for today is it's a space to be held and to hold each other. No names or identifying information. If you are telling a story of a situation, we want to honor everyone and see each and every human as a human being and respect our common humanity. We all fall off our vulnerable edges. We all make mistakes in communication. We will not have crosstalk or interrupting whoever is speaking in that moment. Feedback may be shared at the speaker's request, and feedback would be rooted in your direct experience rather than reflecting on how someone did or didn't do, or even their interpretation. This practice of holding space, I believe, is our next frontier. of expanding the heart consciousness of how we relate to each other. And it's a new way of communicating, to not reflect on what someone has said and just hold that space. And then the next path is in compassionate listening. Thank you, Hayat, for moving in here. And something that's not going to be on this slide, and it's foundational to our peace practice. And it's been an edge, a vulnerable edge that I've had to learn, and I continue to learn. So what's not there yet is self-regulation. These are actions that we can offer, but the first compassionate listening happens towards ourselves and self-regulating where we're at. And I will lead us in the RAIN practice for that avenue, but I wanted to name that because it's new in our consciousness to begin to look at, am I regulated? Am I in a calm and peaceful place? One, to be with whatever challenge is arising or hearing information that may not be easy. Am I regulated? And from that, kindness comes first, giving grace to ourselves and to others. We assume positive intent and hold positive regard. We have accountability and responsibility. What is the effect of how and what I'm communicating? All of this, meeting people where they're at with empathy and honesty, is the foundation of nonviolent communication and compassionate communication. And as a lifelong learner in this, it's a continual practice, which I am so grateful for, and have found that over time, paired with the mindfulness of regulation, self-regulation, and self-compassion, I've been able to meet what is arising, even when it differs from what I value, what seems appropriate, or all sorts of ways that I can find separatism. It's like, that's not how it should be. And have compassion for myself first when it's arising, whatever is arising. And to do that, I have to recognize that something is arising within me. And I'm guessing, as you are either dance participants or dance leaders, or you're on this call, so you're invested in peace, that you have experienced conflict and challenges. And so I want to do just a brief practice right now for RAIN. RAIN comes from Tara Brach, a mindfulness and meditation teacher, one of my teachers. And RAIN is an acronym for recognize, allow and accept, investigate with curiosity, and nurture or nourish. And so I invite you to let yourself sink into your chair or couch, wherever you're at, and just become present with your body in this moment. And breathe with me, taking in 3 deep breaths. Exhaling, letting go of anything that no longer serves you in this moment. Breathing in. And exhaling. And one more breath in. And exhaling. And I invite you to connect into your heart and just feel your heart space here. Your eyes can be opened or closed. And I invite you to bring to your awareness a challenge that you might have experienced recently. It can be within or without the dances, your daily life. And I invite it to be a moderate, not real intense, although if that's what comes up, then honor that and just note what's present. And as you bring up that conflict, that challenge, note what happens in your body. What are the body sensations that you might be experiencing? Note what thoughts might arise. Note what emotion might be there. This practice of naming what are the sensations, the thoughts, then the emotional field are grounding practices that bring us to the present moment and are all part of self-regulation. When we can name what is happening in our field of experience, it helps to regulate us in this present moment, this here now. And that brings us to the next letter, allow. Allowing whatever it is to be here is a skill set in and of itself. And you might just say, this is how it is right now. And then let yourself move to the investigate with curiosity. What need do I have inside of me that may or may not be met? Is there a story that is connected to whatever is happening that might be older than the experience of the challenge in the present moment? We investigate with curiosity. It's like, oh, I wonder what I might learn from this. I wonder what I could be open to hear or know. And then the last aspect of this practice is nourish or nurture. And this combines the softening of self-compassion, like, whoa, I'm holding this. What might help me really nourish myself in this moment? Maybe it's sharing it with a friend, or a walk, or breathing deeply, or journaling. Many, many ways we can nourish ourselves. I invite you to take another deep breath with me. This is a abbreviated version of RAIN, and you'll get this at the end somehow. I'll make sure that you are able to receive it. And it's also online everywhere. This practice of being with ourselves and recognizing, investigate, allowing, investigate, and then nourishing is a practice of peace. And I have found to be profound for me in navigating when I am over the edge in my own vulnerability. So may this lead us into our breakout, but I'm going to pass this to Jen, who will guide us into the breakout rooms.
Thank you, Tajali. That was very relaxing for me. And now I have to talk. So I hope that was very nourishing for everyone. And we're going to move into our small group sharing time. So Hayat is configuring our breakout groups. I think we'll go ahead and have 4 people in each group, if that sounds good. And there's 36 of us here on the call. So in our breakout groups, we will have, each of us will have about 3 to 4 minutes to share something. And we have 3 questions that Hayat's going to place in the chat. And that will also go into the chat in the breakout group. So we'll have 25 minutes in our breakout group. Each person will have, I would say, 3 to 4 minutes to share, and then you can decide whether you would like to invite feedback. And then I would offer that we do 1 to 2 minutes of feedback from others in the group. And again, we just want to remind ourselves that we're not here to problem solve anything in particular. And so we want to leave it open in that way. And again, no, please don't share any names or identifying information. So I will just share that the questions or the discussion prompts are: for dance circles, leaders, and organizers, what are common challenges that you've experienced? And how do you navigate these amongst other leaders and organizers in your area? So that could be a difference in opinion, a perceived power dynamic, dance program selection, financial matters, welcoming new people, welcoming the next generation, something along those lines. So that's the first discussion prompt. Then we have, how do we as leaders or dancers navigate interpersonal conflict within the circle when we are aware of it? So how, as a leader or a dancer, do you work with interpersonal conflict amongst other dancers? Because we know that this does happen with us being human and vulnerable and tender. Then our last question is, what are some challenges that you've experienced in which there was a positive outcome or resolution? And how did that happen? Could you share a little bit about that? So those are the three things, and Hayat has it in the chat right now, and that will also be broadcast in your small group. And then when we come back into the large group again, we'll invite one person to share a takeaway, a theme, or a gem from your small group. So please, when you're in your small group, determine who would like to speak on behalf of the group. And then you'll have a minute or so to share in the large group. And I think I covered everything. Anyone
I just
have
want to
any?
say that, as always happens, some people left in the middle of assigning the breakout groups, so I did my best to reassign people. But so some groups have 3 and some have 4, and I tried to separate the board members and staff members, but that may not be
Okay.
perfect.
Okay. And I think we can, you may want to elect someone as timekeeper in the group. Again, you have 25 minutes in your small group. We want to just ensure that everyone has an opportunity to share. So, but also we can all be mindful and helping each other with our time. Does that feel good?
Can you remind us of how that time is going to break down? I didn't quite understand.
Yeah, so it's 25 minutes in the small group, and I'm suggesting 3 to 4 minutes of sharing for each person, and then 1 to 2 minutes of feedback of if you feel like you would like to request feedback from the other members of the group. If you don't want any feedback, you could take a little longer to share, I think. So like five minutes, if you know you'd prefer not to have feedback. You just want to receive listening.
And that's the time for going over these questions, addressing each.
Yeah, and just choose one question. So
Okay.
you don't have to yourself go over each, the 3 questions. I think just pick one question
Thank you.
that resonates for you. Yeah, thanks for asking. Anyone else have a question? Okay, thank you so much, everyone. We will see you in 25 minutes.
So you'll get a little bubble on your screen that will ask you to click.
That was rich. I hope you all had a rich session like we did. So the next thing that we're going to do is, I believe, hear from the groups about what insights came out of that for you. What what would you like to share, especially if it's about how do we navigate challenges and success stories? So I think that's our focus. Is there a group that would like to go first? Jen, stuck. Thank you.
Hi, I don't know if my group is ready, but I have to jump off in a minute, so feel free to jump in and groupies. Um, so I think for me it was from the different stories, the idea of that we're all human and there's so many things about ourselves and each other that don't show, and that and maybe I just came with that, maybe why that's why when you hold space for someone to share and just like be observed, be witnessed in that, that's very healing. Um, and it makes space for people to understand or recover or let go or hold on or whatever. Anything else we want to say about that, groupies? Oh, I think they went. Oh, there you are. Anything else, Tara? No? All right. That's all I've got.
Thank you so much, Jen. Appreciate it. Is there another brave group or brave person from a group that would like to share what they gleaned from their group?
I see Kalama has raised a hand.
Okay, good. I didn't see that. Kalama.
Hi. Well, we had a free-ranging conversation. I think if we're focused on what worked, one of the things that we could say is having like a dance council, not just having a single leader trying to hold it all together, but having a community, a group of people who help make the dances happen in a particular area. I think that's really good. Some of the challenges we talked about were getting young people involved, watching circles maybe have smaller attendance, especially after COVID. We have some conflicts in my circles around including the other abled. Some people are very welcoming of that, and sometimes we just we make that be the culture. It's like we're gonna have a chair in the middle, or we're going to open the circle when we teach the dance so the people on Zoom can see it. We found some ways. Ideas about bringing the dances to other events in the community, or trying a new venue, like having a sort of a pop-up dance at a yoga studio. Maybe just a one-time thing to say, here it is, check this out. Or like I've done, including a dance in a Earth Day community celebration. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kalama. Is there another group that would like to go?
I could share.
Okay.
Our group, my name is Pat. I'm west of Montreal, north of New York City. And we had some other northern North America folks from New York and Indiana with us. Michigan, Indiana. And so we talked about some of the challenges that that we face in our work of conflicts, and also talking to people who are coming from a different worldview, let's say. One thing I shared about conflict has to do with nonviolent communication, as was spoken of earlier. and an outgrowth of that, which is called restorative circles. And I shared it as a success story, that it was something my husband and I studied for a few years, taking workshops and a steady practice group. But restorative circles comes out of nonviolent communication, and it's a way for a community to adopt a conflict method. So you don't have to use it, but when conflict comes up, this is an opportunity for people to speak from their own truths and be heard by the others. It's kind of a scripted and very open space that accepts wherever people are at, but as long as they follow the rules. But anyway, I shared about restorative circles as a potential for any community to adopt as a method of conflict resolution when it comes to the point when you can't work it out one-on-one or two on one or two or three, then to bring in the community and sit down together in a, yeah, very compassionate and actually, I want to call it, it's very fact-centered. So your anchor is always something everybody can agree on that actually happened instead of an interpretation or an opinion about what's going on. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Pat. Somebody else?
Well, I can report for our group,
Thank you.
and actually, Rachmana has taken notes, so I'm going to do my best to convey her summations. The first thing is that we were a group of both dancers and dance leaders. One of the issues spoken about was about having body pain and the challenges of navigating that. Not wanting to be disruptive in the circle or to necessarily say that at the very beginning. But things, like people squeezing our hands too tight or raising our arms too strongly. So the person asked for feedback, and there was a lot of great ideas about asking the leader ahead of time to make that a common practice. Coming together in compassion and asking each other to think about other folks' health needs, and other ideas about how to do that in the moment so we don't get hurt ourselves, so we maybe withdraw ourselves from the circle or place ourselves someplace else. We discussed about conflicts within leadership and amongst dancers who might have history with one another, ideas about listening intensely, and I would say I added the word intensely because the practice of listening is very was a great offer, and sometimes privately with that person. If there's a conflict within the dance and it's felt, being able to listen to the person who's coming to you and talking about it, and to be able to hold that person in peace. We talked about challenges in getting criticism or other people being criticized within a circle, and the idea to be able to let it go and continue to talk with the person later. And one last thing was about getting help in setting up a circle. Ideas about sending out an email requesting right away at the beginning of a circle if someone could come early or stay late. And then also acknowledgement within a circle for everyone who helped at any point in setting up or taking down, so that folks can hear some of that. And I believe that's all of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. Frank, I think I saw your hands up.
Sure.
Basil.
Yep. Feel free to jump in. Any of my roommates there from the breakout room that we shared. It was again a little bit of a free-ranging conversation going this way and that, but we did go through sharing for each of us. The conflict seemed surprisingly small, which to me was a testament to the power of this work. And far between, which is also really nice. We did cover topics of what did we cover? Some conflicts around who's leading dances, who's and some about the structure of the dances and official teachers versus unofficial teachers, new leaders like that, welcoming in folks. We covered some about difficulties when rhythms get broken, when a guitarist who's always there all of a sudden isn't there, and what arises with that. With meetings fading away and losing attendance and the challenges that came up, especially post-COVID, a meeting that actually vanished. It was all four of us were dance leaders, which was nice. And anything I'm missing here want to be shared? How to welcome in young folks. We talked a little bit about that. That's probably enough from our group. And if anyone else wants to add anything in of folks who were in that room, I'm happy to. I didn't capture all that we talked about. And if there's something else that was meaningful to you, feel free to jump in here.
Thank you, Faisal. I think you did a great job. I was in that group. Yes, Zamin.
On audio here. We talked about initially the injury of being in a high state of being and someone throws something critical at you and how that can throw you off. And then we got into a talk about having to graciously set boundaries and the amount of energy in my own journey of about 4 or 5 years. This is back in the 1990s of learning the grace to set a boundary in a group and to expect a certain level of behavior, but to learn to reestablish it gracefully. And that's a whole leadership skill that just takes time. I fortunately had a very good friend who would tell me when I had been too harsh or messed up. She would take me off to the side and say, by the way, and bring me down a little bit, but it was okay. Because it's like mastering those skills as part of the job. And I thought about Murshid Sam, who once said to Yogi Bhajan, who was complaining at some gathering of gurus about how he had been ill-treated, and Sam yelled at him, if you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. Which means to be in that circle and in that container, which is a container. It's almost like a container, an alchemical container. You've got to hold the boundary as well as holding an ecstasy. This is the last thing I'll say, and then I'm going to turn over to Rana, who has a beautiful mudra for this. I was graced to be a student of Pir Vilayat, and most of us have the ideal of being like the monk or the ecstatic dervish, but he added an archetype, which is the knight. So you have to be able to sit your horse as well as stay in a high attunement. So you're going into combat sometimes, but you have to graciously do it like a knight, or else you regret it and you feel like you've done horrible injury. But you also have to protect the circle's integrity. So it's a real difficult mixture of things. And Rana, you have a beautiful mudra that you taught us that I think said everything that I said but did it through a mudra.
Yeah, it's a Buddhist, it's a combination of two Buddhist mudras. I did a little bit of quick research. So
Dave,
the one is the mudra of compassion. So your left hand is on your knee facing outward, and this is offering love and compassion or compassionate action. At the same time, the right hand is raised up, and that represents protection or fearlessness. So for me, this is one I've often led in circles to negotiate that boundary between, no, this is not appropriate. You will not violate you will not violate the circle and what it represents. The other, though, is always coming from a place of peacefulness and compassionate action. And so again, it's about setting boundaries. So I offer that. And I guess it's the Virata Mudra and the Abhaya Mudra. So anyway, but it works to establish that balance between compassion and protection. Thank you.
beautifully said.
Thank you, both of you. Appreciate that. Basil, you got your hand up again, or was that your mudra?
Oh, that was my mudra.
Just trying the mudra.
Okay, thanks.
But you did raise your mechanical hand. Was that on purpose? Maybe not.
If that happened, then it was because of the automation that they have in Zoom.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
Sometimes.
I can do
Thank
it.
you. Is there another group that hasn't gone yet?
I think Betty
Yes,
Deemer's
Betty.
has her hand up.
I got it. Thanks.
There we go. Okay. Okay, in our group, there were a few conflicts within our dance circles, but there were also several that were within families and friendships. And in the dance circles, basically when the communication and connection sort of stopped and not able to really come to resolution in the circles, moving on and leaving and being in peace, being able to leave in peace, but moving on to doing our own thing and leaving the circles and being able to leave in peace that was positive and felt positive. And then also within families and friendships, being able to allow listening, empathy, and being able to forgive ourselves and besides the other person or people involved, and using forgiveness for ourselves besides for them, and keeping the communication open, to be able to always be able to listen, with compassion and heart, and being able to use understanding is a big part of being able to come to that space of resolution and being able to let go of whatever it was that was going on and accept that, this happened, but it's time to move on with love and compassion in our hearts. So that's pretty much it, but I do want to invite any of the people, wonderful ladies in my group, if they have anything else that they would like to be able to share. If not, Elizabeth, did you want to?
Yes, I want to share one important point that Jamila emphasized is that one of the best starting points is to start to forgive yourself. start with forgiveness, and that includes forgiving yourself and your part in it. So that to me was, I need a starting point. You know, what's going to get me out of this mess quickly, easily, and of course, moving within and being honest with myself is a great place. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, forgiving ourselves and forgiving the people involved. It's also for me using a practice called Ho'oponopono, a Hawaiian practice with 4 aspects. I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you, I love you. That's also a real powerful for myself that I've used, and for myself and for the other people involved. And so, and there's all kinds of information on it online that the Hawaiian practice is what they have used in their families and in their communities and in their life. And I felt that was very powerful and helpful for myself too. And nonviolent communication has been very, very helpful also in my life too. So I'm grateful to be here and hear everybody else's what they have to offer too. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Betty and Elizabeth. Was there one more group that hadn't gone yet? Tajali.
I want to ask if Anne would like to speak. I'm welcome to, but I just want to give her the option. And I don't see her right now.
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for being there. We had a member who's not here in our call right now who shared that the challenge was changing the words, especially with the words of Hazrat Naik Khan. And I'm naming it because I think that's a solution, or towards a solution, to say when we experience a conflict in our dance community, to name what the conflict is, which gets to the second point that was brought up, or conflict, is that sometimes dance leaders talk about each other and gossip. That word was not used, that's my word, so I'll own that. And or interrupt other people when they're leading dances. And so the solution is there's still an evolution. I love Ho'oponopono and nonviolent communication and RAIN, the self-regulation first, but I think the first step in resolving conflict is to be able to name that there is a conflict, that we've got something going on, and to have that be welcomed in the community, especially by new members who may not feel safe or comfortable to come forward and say, this doesn't feel like a peace practice right now. And how do we go forward to do that? So by naming it first. Thank you.
Thank you, Tajali. So I think that was all our groups. Did I miss one?
My group didn't go.
Okay,
I
who
just
are
said
you? I can't see you.
Oh, Melina or Ashley.
Oh, hi, Ashley.
Yeah.
Please, please.
So yeah, I just had a few things that I had jotted down. Let's see. So yeah, refraining from not facing the conflict and talking behind other people's backs, not going in that direction, and instead leaning in into the an open-hearted way of approaching conflict. Let's see, not spiritually bypassing and trying to refrain from judging the conflict or judging the people in the conflict, being with it all, sitting in a wide open space, whole selves, allowing space for our whole selves to be welcome in the circle, so that people are seen and heard with whatever is. and not worrying about having some perfect peace persona that you bring to the circle, but just being your honest self. Let's see, and then maintaining trauma awareness, and approaching conflict from the heart and not the head. And then having a practice of self-reflection, that making that part of the dance practice. That was what came up in our group.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ashley. Was there one more group? So during this conversation, thank you everyone for sharing and really thinking about these topics. And what happened, I'm really grateful that this is being recorded, because what I heard in that is that there were a couple of ideas of how we can step into the peace role and carry this forward. Ayesha is going to lead us now in a little grounding exercise. And then I believe if we still have time, before Jen will wrap up with the resources, we'll come back in the group once again just to see, are there other suggestions of how we can carry this information forward, carry these ideas forward. So thank you.
You're still muted though, beloved.
Oh, thank you. Takes a village. Yeah, we've been sitting here a while listening to lots of ideas. So let's get back to our own body and our own space. If you need to stand up and stretch, be a great time to do that. Just center on your breath and take in the breath from your feet. Take it all the way in through your nose. And if you can imagine that breath going up through your legs and through the core of your body, up through your shoulders and your neck, and up through your head to the very, very tip top of your head. And then breathe out through your nose. And if you can, identify where that breath is going out. And just descending through your body all the way through your legs and to your feet, and touching the ground, which in some place it's touching the earth. If we can do that a few times, I'm not going to count the breaths, but you have your eyes open or closed, whatever's comfortable, sitting or standing in a comfortable position. Breathing in through your nose and out through your nose, and letting go. And do that a few more times. And as you're releasing that last breath into the ground, just think about the ground and the earth and everything around us, holding us in space and holding us tenderly and enveloping us. Then let that breath go, and we'll come back to Vimla. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So for the next couple of minutes, I invite you to we'll just popcorn away. Let's go to gallery view, Hayat. I think it'll be better. You guys can still hear me. So let's just think again about, we've had all these wonderful, rich conversations and identified some challenges that we have in our community. And so the question is how to carry this piece forward despite of or because of these challenges. So if we could just popcorn different ideas. Anne, I see you have your hand up, so go ahead. No, she said no. You can't go like this because it'll digitally raise your hand, as we discovered. Is there someone that would like to share insights, ideas about how to take this back to the rest of our community. Yeah, Jamila.
Well, one of the things that came up in our group was also having patience. And that's not always an easy thing to do when there's multiple personalities involved and things are getting triggered inside of us. But having patience, maybe seeking personal guidance before bringing it up to the individual or the group that is involved, but just individually seeking that internal guidance first. One person in our group said, "Is this really mine to do?" And making sure that it is, as best we can. I'm very fortunate. I work with about 3 different groups, and 2 of the groups, the leaders try to have a meeting before the dance to put together the focus that we're going to have for the dance. Not a theme, but where we want to focus all of the dances that we're doing. And the more people that are able to participate in that, and we invite leaders only to this, and there's about 3 or 4 leaders that participate in these groups I'm in, that planning time together. And if they're not able to attend in person, they send me emails with dances that are calling to them. That togetherness that happens before the day and the time of the dance has done more to calm things down. If people are getting agitated about something, it kind of brings us all together at one time before we're leading the dance. And it has made a big difference. The other thing is feedback afterwards. Contacting the leaders. How did you feel during the dance? You know, was there a moment when you felt really strong, or you seemed to be a little out of sync with the music? What was going on with, not in blaming, but in seeking to find out how to bring it forward the next time that person does that dance? And that feedback has been very valuable for all of the circles I'm involved with. And then very quickly, I'll share, I also take the dances to a senior assisted living facility. Everybody that participates is in wheelchairs or walkers. And I adapt the dances for them. And the participation is increasing. So no matter what the troubles are in a circle, everything can be overcome after my experience with that. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Jamila. Somebody else? Ashley, do you have some guidance for us before we wrap up with Jenna?
Yes, and I'll say one thing that I forgot to share before from our participant who was from Ireland. I like the idea that our region spreads far and wide. It's the region of the heart. She said something really important that bears our practice, and that is to attune ourselves to peace. And that maybe words or actions are not, outward words or actions are not needed in this moment, but when we become the vehicle of peace, that magnetizes more than we know. And I took that to heart, forgot to share it with you. And on that note, I invite everyone to, one, thank you for staying on the call a little bit longer, but to come back to your heart again. You can have your eyes open or closed. This practice is magical, alchemical, and a mystery that we can be present with our heart at any moment. And I invite you to breathe in and out of your heart center, the quality of peace. It may be a color, it may have a particular vibrational or sensatory field. Let yourself feel it. And breathe it. Radiate that peace to every cell in your body. Let that peace radiate out to your community, known or unknown. And allow yourself to experience what it would be like to be seen as a vehicle of peace. What words, what thoughts, what actions are you embodying as this vehicle of peace in your circles and your community? And then if your eyes are closed, gently open them and radiate to our community here. We're not in this alone. We together are the family and the embodiment of peace. If we could measure heart coherence on this call right now, I'm sure it would be very high. We're affecting the earth and its heart resonance. Jen, I will gently pass this to you, and I'm grateful that we all were here together.
I think I need to rethink my placing myself in a program to speak after a meditation. Thank you. What a beautiful, rich time of sharing together. And here we are practicing step by step, breath by breath, how to radiate our peaceful lights into the world within the dance circle and beyond the dance circle. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. So we have a slide that I will share with resources. I don't have anyone's email addresses or information who is on this call. If you do not have, if you're not already a part of our newsletter list, I'd like to invite you to put your email into the chat box. And so this is a slide of just a few resources. The first one is this RAIN process that Tajali shared earlier. And you can download a whole PDF document from Tara Brock on her website. And it's, as she shared, it's also been very effective for me personally, and also as a hospital chaplain. I've used this with patients and family members. It's really beautiful for just helping ourselves become more present to our own body's needs, getting ourselves into a regulated state so that we can be with whatever it is that might arise in our group settings. So that's the first one. And then the second offering is, for those of you who may not be aware, we do have an ethics council that is hosted through DUP International. And they support any of us in the dance community who have an ethics related concern or question. And they do also assist facilitating deeper processes. And I don't know what that looks like. I'm not sure if anyone on this call knows. It may have a flavor of a restorative circle that was mentioned. I believe that's part of their process, is some kind of circle process for parties who have difficulties or have experienced some kind of deeper concern within the community. And you can reach out to the Ethics Council at this email address that's on the slide. And I believe there are 4 or 5 members of the Ethics Council, and my understanding is that Abraham Sussman is the chair of the council. But they did actually revamp in the Mighty Network the information for the council, because I went to grab it for this slide, and I saw that they have you actually emailing ethics@dancesofuniversalpeace.org rather than emailing Abraham directly. But I'm sure, you know, you could also reach out to him. And then we just have a few resources here. Self-Compassion with Kristen Neff. There are a whole bunch of exercises on her website for self-forgiveness, self-compassion, which we know is really a foundational block for becoming a more compassionate community member. And then I put on there, the Center for Nonviolent Communication also has an array of trainings and resources. Some of them are free and some of them are for purchase. What I put into the chat is that if you have additional resources, I think we'll keep this meeting open just a little while longer. So if you have resources you'd like to share with the community, like I saw the restorative circles, and then also someone asked a question about trauma-informed resources. If you yourself have particular resources you'd like to share, go ahead and write that in the chat, and then I'll copy it out, and I'll probably put it in a follow-up email with the recording for today. And then if you have any other thoughts or ideas about what offerings you yourself would like to see or your community would find beneficial, we would really love to know. It seems like this format is really rich for many of us, that simply getting together and sharing in this way is very healing and very, very connecting and empowering. So let us know if you like this kind of format so that we know for future events. We'd really love to know. And I think anyone else with the organization like to share anything?
Just thank you again, everyone, for coming. We couldn't do it without you.
I'll invite Hayat to share. I do have a slide, a closing slide, just to invite a donation if you feel so moved to offer a donation for our organization so that we can continue offering beautiful events on behalf of the community. So you could lift up your phone and do a little screenshot of that QR code, take you right to PayPal. You can also go to dupna.org, and at the bottom of every page, I believe, is a donate button. And we're so grateful for your support. We're super excited that we had a wonderful event at the farm in July, bringing together members of our Next Gen Council from the United States and Mexico, and there were 10 of them. And so we're really excited about the future of our work with them in particular. Okay, so before we sing May All Beings Be Well, May All Beings Be Happy, let's go to gallery view again. Placing our hands on our hearts, honoring all that's been shared here today, whether spoken aloud or energetically through our vibration. Radiating our light of peace to wherever it needs to go in the world. May all beings be well, may all beings be happy. Peace, peace, peace. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. Feel free to unmute. Peace.
Peace.